Most people think assertiveness is about raising your voice, standing taller than everyone else, or winning every argument. But real assertiveness is much simpler. It's learning to express what you feel without shrinking yourself and without stepping on anyone else. The goal isn't to be louder. The goal is to be clearer. Because the truth is, weak communication doesn't come from a weak mind. It comes from a mind that's tired of being ignored, misunderstood, or walked over. And that ends today. Let's talk about how to sound assertive in a way that earns respect, not fear. Controlling your tone is one of the most powerful communication skills you will ever develop, because the way you say something can completely transform how the message is received. You can say the right words in the wrong tone, and suddenly they become weapons instead of bridges. Assertive communication isn't about being louder, sharper, or more aggressive. It's about being calm, grounded, and intentional with every word you choose to release. A steady tone communicates maturity, confidence, and emotional control, and that alone can shift the entire energy of a conversation. When emotions rise and tension starts pushing you to react, that is where tone matters most. Anyone can speak clearly when everything is peaceful, but true assertiveness is proven in difficult moments, the ones where your heart is racing and your mind is screaming to snap back. When you choose calm in those moments, you aren't being passive, you are being powerful. Because the calmest person in the room is the one who is actually leading the conversation. People pay attention to what they feel, and when your tone is stable, others can feel your confidence. Even when you disagree, your controlled tone says, "I respect myself enough to handle this with clarity," and that is how respect is earned in return. Think about the last argument you witnessed. Most likely, both people raised their voices. The louder they got, the less they actually listened. That's what happens when tone is driven by emotion instead of intention. The conversation shifts from solving the problem to proving a point. But when you control your tone, the focus stays on the message instead of the noise around it. You speak to be understood, not to overpower. And that small shift changes everything. Controlling your tone also protects your dignity. When someone disrespects you or tries to provoke you, they expect you to react. They want you to explode, get defensive, raise your voice, or crumble. But when you respond with a calm, even tone, you take away their ability to control the moment. You remain the authority over your own emotions. Saying something like, "I don't appreciate that," in a calm voice hits much harder than shouting 100 insults. Your tone becomes the boundary. It says, "I won't lower myself to match your behavior." Calmness under pressure isn't weakness. It's emotional intelligence on display. That's what real confidence looks like. You can also use pauses to reinforce your tone. A short pause before you respond gives your brain time to choose intention instead of reaction. It allows your words to carry weight. Silence used wisely can communicate strength louder than anger ever could. And here's the secret: your tone improves automatically when your breathing slows. Quick, shallow breaths activate fear and stress. Slow, deep breaths restore clarity and authority. So before responding, breathe, drop your shoulders, keep your voice low and steady. Let your words flow with purpose. When your tone remains calm, you become someone others feel safe speaking to, even when the topic is uncomfortable. Conflict becomes a conversation instead of a battle. And the more you practice this, the more natural it becomes. At first, you might feel your heart wanting to rush ahead, but over time, your tone will become a habit, a consistent reflection of your self-respect. Controlling your tone also means removing unnecessary apologies. Many people weaken their communication without even realizing it by adding phrases like, "I'm sorry, but," or "I just wanted to." These soften your message and make you sound unsure. When you speak with a calm and direct tone, "I need this," instead of "could I maybe have this," people perceive you as someone who knows their value because they can hear it. Words are the content, but tone is the delivery. And confident delivery can make even simple sentences carry power. You don't have to raise your voice to raise your influence. You don't have to speak harshly to be taken seriously. A controlled tone says, "I believe in what I'm saying," and when you believe in your message, people start believing it too. Calm is not silence. Calm is not weakness. Calm is authority. And authority begins with how you speak. Speaking in statements instead of questions is one of the strongest ways to sound assertive and confident, because when you phrase your needs, boundaries, or opinions like a question, you automatically hand your power to someone else. A question seeks permission. A statement expresses certainty. Many people soften their speech without even realizing it because they fear sounding rude or demanding. So their sentences turn into suggestions wrapped in uncertainty. "Could we maybe talk for a second?" Instead of, "I need to speak with you. Do you mind if I finish what I was saying?" Instead of, "I'd like to finish my point. Is it okay if we try it this way?" Instead of, Here's what I recommend. Notice how different those feel. One asks for approval. The other reflects ownership. When you speak like every sentence needs validation, you teach others to see you as someone who needs reassurance. But when you speak with clarity and confidence, firmly, directly, you teach them to trust your voice. Speaking in statements doesn't mean you bulldoze others or become insensitive. It means you trust the thought you are bringing to the table. It means you believe you deserve to be heard. When you end sentences like you're asking for permission, you shrink your authority. But when you end them with conviction, you expand it. Many people underestimate how much tone and punctuation reveal about their mindset. When your voice rises at the end of every sentence, like you're unsure, people subconsciously lose confidence in what you're saying. Your communication becomes a question mark instead of a full stop. And question marks don't build respect, they create confusion. Sometimes, the most confident version of you is just the version that finishes the sentence with a period. Speaking in statements is about giving your words weight. It's about saying, I know who I am, I know what I think, and I don't need your permission to express that. This shift changes the energy of every interaction you have. When someone interrupts, you don't ask them if you may continue, you simply continue. Hold on. I'm not finished speaking. When someone crosses a line, you don't timidly ask if they meant to do that. You name the behavior. What you said was disrespectful. I'm not okay with it. Your authority shows up in how you structure your words. And the most powerful person in the room is rarely the loudest. It's the one who speaks with intention. The more you use statements, the more you rewire your own self-belief. You start to feel the confidence you're communicating. Because confidence works both ways, speak with strength long enough, and eventually your brain catches up. The moment you stop cushioning your thoughts with hesitation, you stop shrinking who you are. Replace I might be wrong, but with here's what I think. Replace I just wanted to with I want to. Replace, if that's okay, with silence, because your intention already says enough. And if someone pushes back or challenges you, that's okay. Assertiveness doesn't guarantee agreement. It guarantees respect. You are not responsible for someone else's comfort when you express your boundaries. You are responsible for your clarity. And speaking in statements delivers clarity. It lets others know you are someone who takes themselves seriously, and that means they should too. There will always be people who test your confidence, who try to make you feel like you're asking for too much just for standing up for yourself. But confidence isn't measured by how others respond. It's measured by how consistently you show up for your own voice. When you speak in statements, you are telling the world, my thoughts matter, my needs matter, my boundaries matter. You speak not to be liked, but to be understood. You speak not for approval, but from self-respect. You speak because silence has never built a strong life, but conviction has. So straighten your shoulders, breathe deeply, look them in the eye, and deliver your message with the steadiness of someone who knows their value. Because the moment you stop questioning your worth in your words, the world stops questioning it too. Owning your space isn't about taking over a room or dominating conversations. It's about refusing to shrink yourself to make others more comfortable. Confidence begins before you say a single word. It starts with how you enter a room, how you hold yourself, how you breathe, how you take your seat at the table like you deserve to be there. Because you do. People read your body language before they process your words. If you fold in on yourself, keep your hands hidden, look down, slouch, sit on the edge of your chair as if you're waiting for permission to belong, others treat you like you are optional. But when you allow your shoulders to rest back, your head to lift, your posture to take up space instead of surrendering it, you communicate without speaking that you believe you matter, and people respond accordingly. Confidence is physical before it becomes verbal. There's a reason leaders don't curl up. There's a reason powerful voices come with grounded presence. When you occupy space with intention, you tell your brain, I'm safe. Your nervous system listens. Your voice steadies. Your thinking clears. Too many people apologize for their existence. They make themselves smaller, quieter, less visible, hoping to avoid judgment. But the truth is you will be judged whether you shrink or shine. So choose the version of you that stands tall. When you walk into a room, walk in like the floor won't break beneath you. Take a full breath before you speak, not a rushed one that shows panic. When you sit, plant both feet firmly on the ground, own the space your body occupies, and allow stillness to do the talking. Stillness shows security. Fidgeting screams insecurity. And here's something most people never realize. The person who takes up emotional and physical space calmly becomes the reference point in the room, the one others look to for cues. You don't have to be loud or animated. Stillness itself is power. Owning your space also means owning your voice. Don't reduce your volume to match someone else's comfort. Don't whisper your opinions like they're fragile. Speak at a level that carries, that says, I believe in what I'm saying. And when you finish a sentence, let silence sit there. Don't rush to fill the gap with nervous ladder or explanations. Silence is a spotlight. Only confident people can stand in it. Remember, you have every right to take up physical space, emotional space, conversational space. If someone interrupts you, you don't shrink, you reclaim your voice. I'm not finished speaking. If someone tries to crowd your boundaries, you don't adjust yourself smaller. You stand your ground. Owning your space is also internal. It's believing that your perspective, your experiences, your presence are worth attention. It's not about arrogance, it's about balance. You can be humble and still take up space. You can be kind and still be seen. You can be polite and still protect the room you occupy. Confidence doesn't look like puffing your chest out. It looks like breathing fully. It doesn't look like towering over others. It looks like not shrinking when others tower over you. You belong in every room you walk into, until proven otherwise. And even then, you walk out with your head high, not because you're better than anyone, but because you refuse to treat yourself like less. This world rewards the people who act like they belong, not the ones waiting for approval to join the conversation. So plant yourself, take your time, expand your presence, own the seat you're sitting in, the ground you're standing on, and the space your voice occupies. Because if you don't take your space, someone else will happily take it from you. And not because they're stronger, but because you surrendered it. You are allowed to exist loudly enough to be noticed, confidently enough to be respected, and boldly enough to be remembered. Owning your space isn't about being the biggest person in the room. It's about finally refusing to be the smallest.